All right, in this video, we want to find the absolute extreme values, which are basically the absolute max and absolute min of the given functions in the given interval. Let's take a look at the first question over here. The first thing we want to do is we want to derive this equation. So derivation of x is just 1, and then the derivation of 2 cos x is negative 2 sine x. Then we want to make this equal to 0 and solve it. I'm going to move this to the other side. And I'll divide the 2 on the other side. So sine x equals to 1 over 2. Now I know that my given interval is between negative pi and positive pi. So I'm going to use my cast rule to solve this from advanced functions. Sine is positive in the first two quadrants. And then using your special triangles or your calculator, you can do the sine inverse of 1 over 2 to give you the acute angle, which is just pi over 6. In this case, I'm not going to explain that in detail because you technically should know that from advanced functions. So I have two possible solutions over here. X equals to pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. So both of these values lie between this given interval here, which means they're both valid solutions for my critical points. And I know that the period of this graph is 2 pi because it's just a regular cos x, which means if I add 2 pi to this, it'll be outside the range. And if I subtract 2 pi from these two values, I'll be outside the interval as well. I'll be below or less than negative pi. So I know there are only two critical points between negative pi and positive pi. So now I have to test the original function f of negative pi, the original interval basically, and then the other side of the interval as well, f of pi. And I also have to test any critical points in between the given intervals. So I have to test f of pi over 6 and f of 5 pi over 6. So 4 possible points to test to find my absolute max and absolute min. Remember, I'm subbing these all back into my original equation. So I'm going to do this in my calculator. Negative pi plus 2 cos negative pi is negative 5.14. Then I'll try positive pi, which is 1.14. Pi over 6 is next. I get 2.26, and I'm rounding these all to 2 decimal places. And last one to test is 5 pi over 6. Which is 0.89. So looking at these four values here, I know that the absolute maximum, they only want the y value here. They don't want the x value, but you could also include the x value if you wanted, which is which is pi over 6 for the absolute max, because this is my highest y value. But they only want the y values in this question. So my absolute max is just 2.26, and my absolute min is negative 5.14, the lowest value. If you had to write these as points, you could just write it as pi over 6 comma 2.26 and negative pi comma negative 5.14. Okay, let's go to the second and third question over here, which are just for practice. Same steps, so I'm going to go through them a bit more quick. Derive it first, so this is just cos x plus sine x, and I want to make it equal to 0 and solve it. Now, if you ever have cos x plus sine x, you have to actually convert that into a tan x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the cos x to the other side, make it negative cos x equals to sine x, and then divide both sides by cos x. So negative cos divided by cos is just -1, and sine divided by cos is just tan x. So anytime you have sine plus cos, you have to turn it into a tan. I'm going to use my cast rule to solve this. Tan is negative in my second and fourth quadrant. I'll do the tan inverse of +1, or use your special triangle. Find your acute angle, which is just pi over 4. Then my two solutions here between 0 and 2 pi are x equals, this is pi minus pi over 4, which is 3 pi over 4. And this one is 2 pi minus pi over 4, which is 7 pi over 4. Now my initial range was between 0 and 2 pi, and I know that for tan x equals to -1, there are only two solutions between 0 and 2 pi. So I'll test my endpoints. I know the question says y, but I'm writing f of over here just to replace the y. Technically, it's just y equals, not f of, but you're probably not going to lose any marks for writing it like this. So I'll test my two endpoints first, and then I will test my two critical points. Let's start with the endpoint, putting 0 in the calculator. Sine 0 minus cos 0. Pretty easy to do this mentally as well. Just going to rely on the calculator. -1. 2 pi is also -1. 3 pi over 4 is √2. And 7 pi over 4 is -√2. So I know that my absolute max is just my largest of these four values, which is √2. √2 is approximately 1.41. So definitely the largest value over there, √2. And the smallest value is -√2, because -1.41 is slightly smaller than -1. And let's go to the third and final example of this video. This one's almost exactly the same as the previous one, so I'm going to do it even quicker. Y prime equals to 3 cos x minus 4 sine x. I'm going to make it equal to 0 and solve it. Again, the interval is between 0 and 2 pi, so I'm likely going to have just two solutions here. I'll move this to the other side. Divide both sides by cos x. Then divide both sides, or divide the 4 on the other side. So that tan x equals to 3 over 4. Again, I have to use my cast rule over here to solve this. Pretty much almost identical to the previous question. Tan is positive in the first and the third quadrant. To find the acute angle, I gotta do the tan inverse of 3 over 4, which is just approximately 0.64 if I round to two decimal places. So my two solutions here for x between 0.2 pi, 0 and 2 pi are 0.64, which is the first quadrant, and here it's pi plus 0.64, which is approximately 3.79. These are both definitely going to be between 0 and 2 pi, and they're also only going to be my only two solutions between 0 and 2 pi. So now I have to test f of 0, f of 2 pi, f of 0.64, and f of 3.79. I'm testing in the original equation. I'll start with 0. So 3 sine 0 plus 4 cos 0 is 4. 3 sine 2 pi plus 4 cos 2 pi is also 4. And then the next one is 0.64, 0.64. It's basically 5. It's 4.9999 recurring, which means it's basically 5. Then 3.79, and that gives me -5, basically negative 4.999, just -5. So my absolute max is +5, and my absolute min is -5. Made it to the end of this video and you found this content helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.